Good morning. Hope everybody has had a good holidays with the families and friends, and know that we're having longer days already, so that is good. Um, yeah, longer days ahead. We made it past the Yule, the shortest day of the year, and out here in Alberta, it's been very cold. Excuse me. And finally getting through this cold. My back is my back is feeling better. And how warm did it feel to have, a +1 day? Feels like springtime. Let us begin with my currently favorite book. I've read it 2 times now, and I think I'm going to read it at least a third time, if not more. So I think I'm just going to finish this today and only read from this book. There is a very small amount left, so I'd like to finish it. Three modalities of awakened doing. There are three ways in which consciousness can flow into what you do, and thus through you into this world. Three modalities in which you can align your life with the creative power of the universe. Modality means the underlying energy frequency that flows into what you do and connects your actions with the awakened consciousness that is emerging into this world. What you do dis- will be dysfunctional and of the ego unless it arises out of one of these three modalities. They may change during the course of a day, although one of them may be dominant during a certain stage in your life. Each modality is appropriate to certain situations. The modalities of awakened doing are acceptance, enjoyment, and enthusiasm. Each one represents a certain vibrational frequency of consciousness. You need to be vigilant to make sure that one of them operates whenever you are engaged in doing anything at all, from the most simple task to the most complex. If you are not in the state of either acceptance, enjoyment, or enthusiasm, look closely and you will find that you are creating suffering for yourself and others. Acceptance. Whatever you cannot enjoy doing, you can at least accept that this is what you have to do. Acceptance means, for now, this is what this situation, this moment requires me to do, and so I will do it willingly. We already spoke at length about the importance of inner acceptance of what happens, and acceptance of what you have to do is just another aspect of it. For example, you probably won't be able to enjoy changing the flat tire on your car at night in the middle of nowhere in the pouring rain, let alone be enthusiastic about it. but you can bring acceptance to it. Performing an action in the state of acceptance mean you are at peace while you do it. That peace is a subtle energy vibration which then flows into what you do. On the surface, acceptance looks like a passive state, but in reality, it is an active and creative because it brings something entirely new into this world. That peace, that subtle energy vibration, is consciousness. And one of the ways in which it enters this world is through surrendered action, one aspect of which is acceptance. If you can neither enjoy or bring acceptance to what you do, stop. Otherwise, you are not taking responsibility for the only thing you can really take responsibility for, which also happens to be the one thing that really matters, your state of consciousness. And if you are not taking responsibility for your state of consciousness, you are not taking responsibility for life. Enjoyment. The peace that comes with surrendered action turns to a sense of aliveness when you actually enjoy what you are doing. Enjoyment is the second modality of awakened doing. On the new earth, enjoyment will replace wanting as the motivating power behind people's actions. Wanting arises from the ego's delusion that you are a separate fragment that is disconnected from the power that lies behind all creation. Through enjoyment, you link into the universal creative power itself. When you make the present moment instead of past and future the focal of your life, your ability to enjoy what you do and with it, the quality of your life increases dramatically. Joy is the dynamic aspect of being. When the creative power of the universe becomes conscious of itself, it manifests as joy. You don't have to wait for something meaningful to come into your life so that you can finally enjoy what you do. There's more meaning and joy than you will ever need. The waiting to start living syndrome is one of the most common delusions of the unconscious state. Expansion and positive change on the outer level is much more likely to come into your life if you can enjoy what you are doing already, instead of waiting for some change so that you can start enjoying what you do. Don't ask your mind for permission to enjoy what you do. All you will get is plenty of reasons why you can't enjoy. Not now, the mind will say. Can't you see I'm busy? There's no time. Maybe tomorrow you can start enjoying. Dot, 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 dot. That tomorrow will never come unless you begin enjoying what you are doing now. When you say, I enjoy doing this or that, it is really a misperception. It makes it appear that the joy comes from what you do, but that is not the case. Joy does not come from what you do, it flows into what you do, and thus into this world from deep within you. The misperception that joy comes from what you do is normal, and it is also dangerous because it creates the belief that joy is something that can be derived from something else, such as an activity or thing. You then look to the world to bring you joy, happiness, but it cannot do that. This is why many people live in constant frustration. The world is not giving them what they think they need. Then, what is the relationship between something that you do and the state of joy? You will enjoy any activity in which you are fully present, any activity that is not just a means to an end. It isn't the action you perform that you really enjoy, but the deep sense of aliveness that flows into it. That aliveness is one with who you are. This means that when you enjoy doing something, you are really experiencing the joy of being in its dynamic aspect. That is why anything you enjoy doing connects you with the power behind all creation. Here's a spiritual practice. that will bring empowerment and creative expansion into your life. Make a list of a number Make a list of a number of everyday routine activities that you perform frequently. Include activities that you may consider uninteresting, boring, tedious, irritating, or stressful. But don't include anything that you hate or detest doing. That's a case either for acceptance or stopping what you do. The list may include traveling to and from work, buying groceries, doing your laundry, or anything that you find tedious or stressful in your daily work. Then, whenever you are engaged in those activities, let them be vehicles for alertness. Be absolutely present in what you do and sense the alert, alive stillness within you in the background of the activity. You will soon find that what you do in such a state of heightened awareness, instead of being stressful, tedious, or irritating, is actually becoming enjoyable. To be more precise, what you are enjoying is not really the outward action, but the inward dimension of consciousness that flows into the action. This is finding the joy of being in what you are doing. If you feel your life lacks significance or is too stressful or tedious, it is because you haven't brought that dimension into your life yet. Being conscious in what you do has not yet become your main aim. The new earth arises as more and more people discover that their main purpose in life is to bring the light of consciousness into this world and so use whatever they do as a vehicle of consciousness. The joy of being is the joy of being conscious. Awakened consciousness then takes over from ego and begins to run your life. You may then find that an activity that you have been engaged in for a long time naturally begins to expand into something much bigger when it becomes empowered by consciousness. Some of those people who, through creative action, enrich their lives of many others simply do what they enjoy doing, most without wanting to achieve or become anything through that activity. They may be musicians, artists, writers, scientists, teachers, or builders, or they may bring into manifestation a new social or business structures, enlightened businesses. Sometimes, for a few years, their sphere of influence remains small, and then it happens that suddenly or gradually, a wave of creative empowerment flows into what they do, and their activity expands beyond anything they could have imagined and touches countless others. In addition to enjoyment, an intensity is now added to what they do, and with it comes a creativity that goes beyond anything an ordinary human could accomplish. But don't let it get to your head, because up there is where a remnant of ego may be hiding. You are still an ordinary human. What is extraordinary is what comes through you into this world, but that essence you share with all beings. The 14th century Persian poet and Sufi master Hafez expresses this truth beautifully. I am a hole in a flute that the Christ's breath moves through. Listen to this music. Enthusiasm. There is another way of creative manifestation that may come to those who remain true to their inner purpose of awakening. Suddenly, one day, they know what their outer purpose is. They have a great vision, a goal, and form, and from then on, they work toward implementing that goal. Their goal or vision is usually connected in some way to something that, on a smaller scale, they are doing and enjoy doing already. This is where the third modality of awakening arises: enthusiasm. Enthusiasm means there is a deep enjoyment in what you do, plus the added element of a goal or a vision that you work toward. When you add a goal to the enjoyment of what you do, the energy field or vibrational frequency changes. A certain degree of what we might call structural tension is now added to enjoyment, and so it turns into enthusiasm. At the height of creative activity fueled by enthusiasm, there will be enormous intensity and energy behind what you do. You will feel like an arrow that is moving towards a target and enjoying the journey. To an onlooker, it may appear that you are under stress, but the intensity of enthusiasm has nothing to do with stress. When you want to arrive at your goal more than you want to be doing what you are doing, you become stressed. The balance between enjoyment and structural tension is lost, and the latter has won. When there is stress, it is usually a sign that the ego has returned, and you are cutting yourself off from the creative power of the universe. Instead, there is only the force and strain of egoic wanting, and so you have to struggle to work hard to make it. Stress always diminishes both the quality and effectiveness of what you do under its influence. There is also a strong link between stress and negative emotions, such as anxiety and anger. It is toxic to the body and is now becoming recognized as one of the main causes of the so called degenerative diseases such as cancer and heart disease. Unlike stress, enthusiasm has a high frequency and so resonates with the creative power of the universe. This is why Ralph Waldo Emerson said that nothing great has ever been achieved without enthusiasm. The word enthusiasm comes from the ancient Greek en and theos, meaning God, and the related word enthusiasm means to be possessed by God. With enthusiasm, you will find that you don't have to do it all by yourself. In fact, there's nothing of significance that you can do by yourself. Sustained enthusiasm brings into existence a wave of creative energy, and all you have to do then is ride the wave. Enthusiasm brings an enormous empowerment into what you do, so that all those who have not assessed that power would look upon your achievements in awe and it may equate them with who you are. You, however, know the truth that Jesus pointed to when he said, I can, of myself, do nothing. Unlike egoic wanting, which creates opposition in direct proportion to the intensity of its weight wanting, unlike egoic wanting, which creates opposition in direct proportion to the intensity of its wanting, enthusiasm never opposes. It is non confrontational. Its activity does not create winners and losers. It is based on inclusion, not exclusion of others. It does not need to use and manipulate people because it is the power of creation itself and so does not need to take energy from some secondary source. The ego's wanting always tries to take from something or someone. Enthusiasm gives out of its own abundance. When enthusiasm encounters obstacles in the form of adverse situations or uncooperative people, it never attacks but walks around them, or by yielding or embracing, turns the opposing energy into a helpful one, the foe into a friend. Enthusiasm and the ego cannot coexist. One implies the absence of the other. Enthusiasm knows where it is going, but at the same time, it is deeply at one with the present moment. The source of its aliveness, its joy, and its power. Enthusiasm wants nothing because it lacks nothing. It is at one with life, and no matter how dynamic the enthusiasm inspired activities are, you don't lose yourself in them. And there remains always a still but intensely alive space at the center of the wheel. a core of peace in the midst of activity that is both the source of all and untouched by it all. Through enthusiasm, you enter into full alignment with the outgoing creative principle of the universe, but without identifying with its creations. That is to say, without ego. Where there is no identification, there is no attachment. One of the great sources of suffering. Once a wave of creative energy has passed, structural tension diminishes again, and the joy of what you do and the joy in what you are doing remains. Nobody can live in enthusiasm all the time. A new wave of creative energy may come later and lead to renewed enthusiasm. When the return movement toward the dissolution of form sets in, enthusiasm no longer serves you. Enthusiasm belongs to the outgoing cycle of life. It is only through the surrender that you can align yourself with the return movement, the journey home. To sum up, enjoyment of what you are doing combined with a goal or vision that you work hard toward becomes enthusiasm. Even though you have a goal, what you are doing in the present moment needs to remain the focal point of your attention. Otherwise, you will fall out of alignment with universal purpose. Make sure your vision or goal is not an inflated image of yourself and therefore a concealed form of ego, such as wanting to become a movie star, a famous writer, or a wealthy entrepreneur. Also, make sure your goal is not focused on having this or that, such as a mansion by the sea, your own company, or $10 million in the bank. An enlarged image of yourself or a vision of yourself having this or that are all static goals and therefore don't empower you. Instead, make sure your goals are dynamic. That is to say, point toward an activity that you are engaged in and through which you are connected to other human beings as well as to the whole. Instead of seeing yourself as a famous actor and writer and so on, see yourself inspiring countless people with your work and enriching their lives. Feel how that activity enriches or deepens not only your life, but that of countless others. Feel yourself being an opening through which energy flows from the unmanifested source of all life through you for the benefit of all. All this implies that your goal or vision is then already a reality within you, on the level of mind and of feeling. Enthusiasm is the power that transforms the mental blueprint into the physical dimension. That is the creative use of the mind. And that is why there is no wanting involved. You cannot manifest what you want. You can only manifest what you already have. You may get what you want through hard work and stress, but that is not the way of the new earth. Jesus gave the key to the creative use of mind and to the conscious manifestation of form when he said, "Whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." The frequency holders. The outward movement into form does not express itself with equal intensity in all people. Some feel a strong urge to build, create, become involved, achieve, make an impact upon the world. If they are unconscious, their ego will, of course, take over and use the energy of the outgoing cycle for its own purposes. This, however, also greatly reduces the flow of creative energy available to them, and increasingly they need to rely on efforting to get what they want. If they are conscious, those people in whom the outward movement is strong will be a highly creative one. Others, after the natural expansion that comes with growing up has run its course, lead an outwardly unremarkable, seemingly more passive and relatively uneventful existence. They are more inward looking by nature, and for them, the outward movement into form is minimal. They would rather return home than go out. They have no desire to get strongly involved in or change the world. If they have any ambitions, they usually don't go beyond finding something to do that gives them a degree of independence. Some of them find it hard to fit into this world. Some are lucky enough to find a protective niche where they can lead a relatively sheltered life, a job that provides them with a regular income or a small business of their own. Some may feel drawn toward living in a spiritual community or monastery. Others may become dropouts and live in the margins of a society they feel they have little in common with. Some turn to drugs because they find living in this world too painful. Others eventually become healers or spiritual teachers. That is to say, teachers of being. In past ages, they would probably have been called contemplatives. There is no place for them, it seems, in our contemporary civilization. On the arising new earth, however, their role is just as vital as that of the creators, the doers, the reformers. Their function is to anchor the frequency of the new consciousness on this planet. I call them the frequency holders. They are here to generate consciousness through the activities of daily life, through their interactions with others, as well as through just being. In this way, they endow the seemingly insignificant profound in this way they endow the seemingly insignificant with profound meaning. Their task is to bring spacious stillness into this world by being absolutely present in whatever they do. There is consciousness and therefore quality in what they do, even the simplest task. Their purpose is to do everything in a sacred manner. As each human being is an integral part of the collective human consciousness, they affect the whole much more deeply than is visible on the surface of their lives. The new earth is no utopia. Is the notion of a new earth not just another utopian vision? Not at all. All utopian visions have this in common: the mental projections of a future time when all will be well, we will be saved, and there will be peace and harmony and the end of our problems. There have been many such utopian visions. Some ended in disappointment, others in disaster. At the core of all utopian visions lies one of the main structural dysfunctions of the old consciousness: looking toward the future for salvation. The only existence the future actually has is as a thought form in your mind. And so when you look to the future for salvation, you are unconsciously looking at your own mind for salvation. You are trapped in form, and that is ego. Quote, "And I saw a new heaven and a new earth," end quote, writes the biblical prophet. The foundation for a new earth is a new heaven, the awakened consciousness. The earth, external reality, is only its outer reflection. The arising of a new heaven, and by implication, a new earth, are not future events that are going to make us free. Nothing is going to make us free because only the present moment can make us free. That realization is the awakening. Awakening as a future event has no meaning because awakening is a realization of presence. So, the new heaven, the awakened consciousness, is not a future state to be achieved. A new heaven and a new earth are arising within you at this moment. And if they are not arising at this moment, they are no more than a thought in your head and therefore not arising at all. What did Jesus tell his disciples? Heaven is right here in the midst of you. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus makes a prediction that to this day few people have understood. He says, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." In modern versions of the Bible, meek is translated as humble. Who are the meek or the humble, and what does it mean that they shall inherit the earth? The meek are the egoless. They are those who have awakened to their essential true nature as consciousness and recognize that essence in all others, all life forms. They live in the surrendered state and so feel their oneness with the whole and the source. They embody the awakened consciousness that is changing all aspects of life on our planet, including nature, because life on Earth is inseparable from the human consciousness that perceives and interacts with it. That is the sense in which the meek shall inherit the earth. A new species is arising on the planet. It is arising now, and you are it. And that thus ends Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth. So now begins the second half of the read and sit, which is the sitting. So meditation yields no fruit, so to speak, if one does not do it. Meditation is not a necessity for all, yet if one wishes to experience the results of meditation, one must practice. And what meditation reveals is not something that is new. It doesn't create something new necessarily. It reveals what has always been there, what is always here and now, which is access to the deeper intelligence, the deeper life force that is our true nature. And when we are able to drop into this central space within, the space of life, of consciousness, of bliss, we're able to live much more presently, much more consciously, in a much more awakened state. And we can bring that into our daily life. Some people can achieve this or can reconnect with this vital life energy through a walk in nature, painting a picture, gardening, writing music, or a book, or singing. And yet, formal sitting has its own advantages. So, to begin with, it's important that we find a steady and comfortable seat and that our body is upright if possible. When we lie down, we tend to fall asleep. Walking meditation is possible as well. But in this practice today, we shall sit. And so during meditation, during a formal seated practice, we might experience distracting physical sensations, including the body being a little sore or anxious or unsettled. Any one of the senses could distract us. Thoughts in the mind, memories, agitations. And the thing is even though we might have an idea of what meditation is, and we feel like we might not be there, every moment, every sensation, every thought, every feeling, every memory, it all is the entry point into meditation. It's not getting beyond where we are. It's actually being fully with the current experience. And at its deepest core, again, it is the very nature of life itself. So all sensations, all thoughts, all emotions, all when engaged with pure presence and awareness becomes the meditation. Om. We'll begin by taking 9 full deep breaths, the count of 3 on the inhale and the count of 6 on the exhale, activating the parasympathetic nervous system, allowing the body to know it is safe and able to relax. So counting 3 on the inhale and 6 on the exhale, full breaths as if sipping cool, refreshing water on a hot day. And I'll often keep track of how many breaths I have by using my fingers as a method of counting. A count of 3 on the inhale and 6 on the exhale, 9 full breaths. And then when you've completed these 9 breaths, just return to a natural breathing rhythm. Perhaps now being more aware of the subtle energy that the breath brings into the body. The breath being the tether of life, and noticing the life force within the entire body, from the tips of the toes to the top of the head, slowly scanning the entire body. You can ask yourself, how do I know that I am alive? And it's not a thought, it's an experience, noticing the life force that pervades the entire body, permeates the entire body, this life force. At first, it might be just noticing the warmth in the body, bringing awareness to every toe. Can start on one side, the right side, or the left side. It doesn't matter. Just start on one side, scanning each toe, scanning the foot, the ankle, the calf, the shin, knee, the thigh, scanning the entire leg, bringing awareness, wrapping your awareness around the entire leg. And then the other side, each toe, the foot, ankle, wrapping your awareness around the entire leg to the hip, the pelvis, into the abdomen, chest, sides of the torso, up the spine, the whole back, noticing the vital life force, the subtle energy, bringing the attention into the right shoulder. Again, wrapping your awareness down around the bicep, your elbow, forearm, wrist, hand, into each finger. This is such a healing practice for the body, is to let the body become aware of its own life force. Wrapping awareness around the left shoulder, around the arm, elbow, forearm, wrist, your left hand, each of the fingers. Let your awareness wrap around the neck, up through the back of the head, each the left and the right ear, your chin, jaw, your eyes, the nose, forehead, the top of the head, and then letting your awareness reside in the entire body. Letting the breath be natural, noticing the life giving quality of the breath in the entire body. Bringing your awareness into the sense of taste. Not in so much as to what you are tasting. It can start with that, maybe coffee or some oats, or maybe there's not much of a taste at all. What is more important is to pay attention to the sense of taste itself, being aware of taste, noticing that each sense, if completely focused on, can become a whole world unto itself. And when we become absorbed in any one of the senses, it's almost as if every other sense drops away. This is the power of awareness, of focus, of concentration. And it is actually the light of awareness or consciousness that illuminates each of the senses and each of the sense objects. Bringing one's awareness now to the sense of smell, deeply connected to breathing itself in the nose, noticing the coolness of the inhale and the warmness of the exhale. Just being aware of the sense of smell itself, sensation of air in and out of the nose. Maybe you smell what you were cooking this morning. Maybe you smell your tea or coffee, some incense, or the room you're in has a particular scent, but more so noticing the sense of smell itself. Not what it is smelling, but the fact that there is an experience that we call smelling. Dropping all preference, just noticing the sensation itself. Now, whether the eyes are open or closed, bring your awareness, your attention into the sense of sight. And if the mind wanders, that's okay. Just bring it back. Notice sight itself, not particularly what you're looking at, but the sense itself. Bringing the mind back simply to the task at hand, which is to notice seeing, the faculty of sight. The mind might ask, well, what is the purpose of this? I have other things to do. This is boring. Let's bring the mind into the sense of sight and rest there. The point of this is to become aware of awareness, become aware of the light of consciousness, which illuminates all the senses, all the objects of the senses, which illuminates thought and emotion, that which without the entire experience of the human being would not be possible. And then we bring our awareness now finally to the sense of hearing. And first, you might notice the sounds in the room, maybe the fridge, maybe your furnace, the wind outside, traffic passing, people in the other room or walking down the street. Simply, even my voice. So now begin to notice the sensation of hearing itself. Mm, Not necessarily what you are hearing, but that you are hearing. In this part of the practice, we are really starting to rest awareness back in its nature. We're letting being as it is by touching on the most fundamental aspect of experience itself through each of the senses. That experience is reflecting the nature of ourself, back to ourself, which is that of pure consciousness, pure awareness. Noticing any thoughts that might arise, any thought at all, each thought arising in awareness, in this consciousness, in the light of consciousness. All thoughts. Some of the thoughts that we might be more identified with, or we might be trying to avoid, we might enjoy more or less. But the point of this exercise is just to be aware of anything that is arising, being aware of each of the senses, of the entire body, the energy of life within the body, the breath itself, noticing any resistance that might arise, any sleepiness that might arise, any changing states that come and go in the purview of consciousness, of this awareness. Anything one experiences, any thoughts, any memories, imagination, feelings, emotions, all arising, lasting some time and passing in this unbounded field of consciousness, awareness. In Sanskrit, there's a word, it's called prakash, and it is essentially the light of the soul. And this light of the soul illuminates the entire world within this body, mind experience. Because there is a thought, because there is an imagination, a memory, a feeling, a sensation, all of this is possible because of this prakash, the light of the soul, the light of awareness in which things become known. The question is, who or what is the knower at its most core level? Anything that can be thought of, experienced, seen, arises and passes in this unbound sky of your true nature, which itself cannot be seen, cannot be ultimately labeled. It just simply is. This is the being aspect of the human being, which is often not even seen or misunderstood or not engaged with or regarded with much importance at all. Most of our experience is a human doing. So rarely are we human beings. This being dimension is the vertical dimension of spirit, of consciousness, awareness, which, when brought into the horizontal plane of our life experiences and relationships and the activities we have to perform and the conversations we have, empowers and raises the vibration and imbues consciousness more and more into the world. More presence, more awareness, more love, more patience. Now, resting is this pure being, noticing anything arising and passing, and knowing that you are not essentially and fundamentally any of these temporary phenomena. You are the light of the world. You're the light of awareness, consciousness itself. This is the mind bowing to the heart. Any concepts, thoughts, or words are all just pointers to that which cannot be seen or pointed at. It is the oneness that is aware of all these things arising and passing. So, just like this awareness shines on all aspects of your experience and your life, the sun too shines on all things. And now we can bring a gentle smile to our face that might not even be perceivable outwardly, but it is like an inward smile, a gentle smile, like how the sun breaks through the clouds and shines on all the plants and animals after it has rained, and it brings light and warmth and life. Our gentle smile, shining the light of awareness and of kindness through this smile, this loving awareness to all the thoughts, all our emotions. Just allowing this gentle smile wash over the whole body, the aspects of our life that we find more attractive and less attractive, more enjoyable or painful. Just shedding the light of loving awareness on all, our totality of our experience, gently smiling with loving awareness, the entire body, the entire room you're in, taking the time to just rest in awareness and smile lovingly at the entire room, the entire building you're in, all the people that might be there, gently smiling, loving awareness into the building you're in, the town or the city or the countryside you're in, smiling at the entire country, gently loving awareness like sun without discrimination, just gently smiling on all, on the entire world, sharing this loving awareness with the entire solar system, all the planets and space in between, and all the life forms, the animate and inanimate beings, all the elements, through time and space, all time and space within this loving awareness. And now bringing your awareness back into this room, back into this body, gently welcoming this loving awareness into every thought, every word, and every action. Thank you for joining this morning on today's Read and Sit. Don't forget to check out my ebook. It's pinned to the top of my comments in this video, and to check out the audiobook, and also enjoy the longer days that are now rolling out, that we're past the winter solstice. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and bring in greater levels of awareness and presence where possible throughout your entire day. It's always accessible. You can just take a deep breath and notice the life force within the body. It takes all of a few moments and is available at all times.